Indeed. And greetings unto you, beloved and holy friends. Thank you for joining me again on another conscious evolution. Another opportunity for us to be authentically ourselves. At least that's what I feel called to talk about today. Yesterday, in a conversation with Jovan, that is something that she brought some awareness to, about how in being authentically ourselves, we equip other people, give other people permission, set people at ease enough in their own authentic selves that they allow themselves to be authentically. It is something that I don't notice in the same way. And I feel maybe that's why I want to talk about it today. Is that being authentically yourself is something of a question. If I had to ask you, what does your authentic self look like? Would you be able to give me an answer? Right? If I asked you, what does being authentic look like? Would you be able to give me an answer? The way my mind tries to answer these questions is in like non-censorship of myself, right? But I also don't know if that's necessarily true, because it is authentic in some ways to censor certain parts of yourself, because that's not necessarily who you feel yourself authentically to be. Right? Right? Totally, right? You know what I'm saying? We both know what we're talking about right now. Nods. Nods in, not knowing what's going on. Mm-hmm. This is true. I'm getting a little bit ticklish. What a topic! Nice. Duck Dad likes it. I see Lois, Anna, and Sam here too. Let's see what they say. Duck Dad says, when I was in sales, people tried to break me of my natural speaking method to be more of a slick a sales to a method. Yossi, brain is breaking reading that sentence, and it's not your fault. It's just me while I'm trying to read. Let's do that again. People try to break me of my natural speaking method to more of a slick salesman way. I tanked. Then I went back to a company that trusted me to speak my way, and my numbers went up. I'm not polished or anything. I mean, maybe a little more than the average bear, but I come off as trustworthy because I am. Authenticity for the win. I feel that, bro. I do feel that. And it is something that, in a way, it feels like it's something you have to cultivate, which feels authentic. At least to my citizen brain, right? Where it goes like, how can you cultivate being authentically yourself? Maybe it's a melting of all of your old behaviors to the point of being yourself again. It definitely has something to do with comfort. It has something to do with how comfortable you are with yourself, with this version of you that you are. I think there are things that you can do to help with that authenticity as well. In a way, dressing can be very powerful like that. Like the way that I choose to dress, for example, it's an expression. It is an expression of the authentic me that I want to be. I feel like our clothing still falls short of how ridiculous I think we're supposed to be dressing. But for the meanwhile, this feels as close to authenticity as I can manage. Then there is authenticity in what we do with our time. That one is a big one. That one is very sensitive very quickly as well. I can feel it in all of our conscious minds. Because how we spend our time uh, is a part of our authenticity, right? Like if someone had to painstakingly analyze every second of your life and how you spend it, they would form some sort of opinion of who and what the authentic you is. And I feel like there is room in our experience to pay attention to ourselves in that way as well. Authenticity in our exchanges with others. That's a big one. Because there's a bunch of metrics. Another conversation that was had about the corporate America side of the world, where kindness isn't necessarily something you do because you want to be kind, but almost like a prerequisite, a rule, condition that has to be met before you get to participate in this world that is corporate America. And in that way, it comes off as inauthentic sometimes. Crunchy? Is the audio crunchy for anyone else? Crunchy as the leaves fall underfoot. I exit out and come back in. Like it makes me cringe aggressively hard when I have to hear about crunchy audio. Like it makes me cringe. I don't know if that's better. It's better now? Good. Yes. Fantastic. Oh, look, authenticity, right? That's what we're talking about. Jovan is here. Love you. It's nice having you here with us. I see Kristen too. I think I have said hi to Louisiana. Love to all of you friends lurking in your background as well. Being authentic is, in my experience, says Sam, showing up to a yoga core module and introducing yourself to who will be your specialty instructor of the word shit. Can I tell you something of a personal anecdote that is semi-related to that, Sam? And I hope your moment of shit doesn't haunt you the way mine did me. But we were at, I believe, last year's Earth Dance. Not this Earth Dance, last year's Earth Dance. And it's still so crystallized in my brain, the amount of cringe I experienced. But I was in the mid of a conversation with people directly next to me, and then a ceremony was happening. And there was technically a call to silence for the ceremony to happen. And I was so in the throes of telling someone something that I didn't absorb any of this external information. And then when my attention was called to the fact that I'm supposed to be silent and everybody else was, I go, oh shit. And then that's the last thing I say. Like I go, oh shit. And then I actually stay quiet. Oh, and it still hurts. It still hurts me. Still pain. So I get it, Sam. I want to tell you that the pain goes away, but I'm not sure it does. All I think you can do is now be authentic in your laughing of yourself, or such. Light bearing, light bears. I think I missed a bunch. Mel's been hitting the push-ups. Guns look swole. I think it's more a perspective thing, right? If the camera is like closest to me from this person, like my arms look super big, but they're not that big. Or are they? Am I actually completely Jacko Bobacco out of my mind? No. No, I'm not. Yet. I'm gonna stop. No, love again to you, bro. Thank you for the love. This is a big topic for me, says Loazana. Especially since I just spent the weekend with my dad and one of my big brothers. I had to mask like crazy. Taking a breath with you in that, Loazana. That's not easy. Not being your authentic self. Maybe that's the teaching we can take from you, Loazana, is that it's easier, less soul taxing in some ways to just be yourself than it is to not. Maybe there is something to be said about the ability, the freedom to be your authentic self, and other people that influence that. I feel that, LA. What does masking look like to you? Do you have to pretend to not be who you are? Or do you have to just not say certain things? Do you have to like bite your tongue when you want to say something about something, but you just don't? That's the way it looks for me these days. I just don't say things. I'll make facial expressions. People will know I could have said something, but I don't. Feels like there's some sort of balance being had in being authentically me and also masking at the same time. I learned to not be myself, so I must be able to learn to be myself. And 100% clothes has helped me to get back to me. I'm so happy that this is resonating with you friends. Both Sam and Kristen both agreed that just dressing yourself, properly dressing yourself, going somewhere, even if they even if the pieces don't match, and I know it's an expense thing which can get in the way a little bit, but getting pieces of clothing that you really like, be like, I like this. This is nice. Doesn't this look cool? Right? And then you look to yourself and you get yourself that thing for the nice of you wanting to have it. And then you dress that way and you feel what it feels. Some people might look at you strange. One of my most strange encounters looking like this was at a equivalent of a football stadium. I got invited to go and watch a rugby game with Josh. And we get there, and I'm walking to get to the stadium, essentially. And I'm dressed this way. And a child, holding onto his mother's arm, points at me and goes, Mama, kijk, this is a hippie. Which directly translates to, Mom, look, a hippie. Mom, look, Mama, kijk. Mom, look, this is a hippie. And it felt great. Felt like I was seen. Felt like the authentic me was being seen. I was like, fuck yeah, I'm a hippie little kid. You don't even know what a hippie is. I don't even know what a hippie is. But we know, me and you, 7-year-old. And it was so fun. I still cherish. I still cherish that moment. I'll dress like this for the rest of my life to have at least one more exchange like that. We have to cultivate ourselves because for our entire youth, we're generational selves that have been told we are not correct. But one by one, we've all realized it was them, not us. True self blooms. Feeling this with you, bro. Crunchy as the leaves under my foot. Hey, sounds better. Like, be more aggressive. Like, I want you to like use like all caps, you know, and like even spam the like this little heart button at the bottom. Maybe with this like spazzy, the celebration one being like, hey bro, audio is crunchy. I wish it wasn't like that. Please, techno gods, smile kindly on my interactions so my audio may not be crunchy. It is better now, so I can stop tripping out about it. I'm just reading over it again. Yeah, Jovan, blessing all of us with some lovin's. I love you. Beautifully authentic, wholesome, light bearing, light bears. Yes. Nice. Thank you for the little brush. Sam, you are so loved. When you said that, I crackled and thought, that's my girl. I love her for real. Maybe, I'm guessing, it's the be authentic with the word shit. Maybe that's the one. So hilarious. I heard the class start cracking up in the background and I wanted to die. You had people laughing. You had people laughing, Sam. That is markedly better. My shit went into that silence, and there wasn't a single giggle. I felt so judged. I felt I felt like I should shrink into a little raisin, and then that raisin should shrink into a little raisin, and then that raisin should shrink into disappearance. And that's what that's what it felt like in that moment. So I do get you. Melt, for what it's worth, in those embarrassing moments like that, I like to believe that you're likely the only one to remember. I think you're right about that as well, Chauvin. Like, we are the most critical of ourselves at the end of the day. Maybe that could be another way to wedge today's idea in our brains, is that being authentically you looks like non-judgment, at least in some ways, right? Allowing yourself to be without actively judging what you are. At least that's the way I try. At least that's what I'm understanding right now, Joe. So thank you for that. Uh, we're all loved, Sam. You're relatable. It's true. There are certainly settings that social standards play heavier roles, but I like the challenge of being so authentically you that people can't help but be authentically themselves. Be weird. Remember when I was like, Jovan inspired today's stream topic, and then I paraphrased roughly what she said to me? That's exactly what she said to me. In quotation marks. Being so authentically you that people can't help but be authentically themselves. I like that. I do like that. I'm slipping off of the rocks. Trying to shimmy myself a little bit more in here. Jeez. Having hair. I went through a whole thing today again about thinking what it would look like if I was bald. Or just shave my hair. Maybe someday. I found it works better with children, though. Probably true. I totally remember the mom. Look at hippie stream. Oh yeah, you were there for that. You were there for that. I remember that too. That's true. Mom, look at hippie. Oh, jeez. That cracks me up. That really does. It actually, because again, the way I see it is from this perspective of perspectives. That to myself, I'm not technically a hippie. Hey, Google, define what a hippie is. Someone associated with the counterculture of the 1960s. Right off the bat. Right at the bat. I didn't exist in the 1960s. Or did I? Am I actually a vampire? Masquerading as a 20-something-year-old in the year 2024. Because the tech might just catch up with me. And people might end up living long enough so that I never start being suspected. No. Secondly, it's originally a youth movement. It began in the United States. Yeah. Another one. Like, I don't know if this is really good information. I also don't know if I look like these hippies. I think these hippies are harder hippies than I am. Is that how it works? Do you hippie harder, or are you a harder hippie? Show me a picture of a hippie as the first search. These people look like they sit around fires and sing with one another. Am I stereotyping? Am I doing something wrong right now? Tell me what a hippie is. What is a hippie? Who rejected the values and institutions of mainstream society. Uh, Lifestyle sought enlightenment, adventure, the exotic. They also had an interest in health foods and saving the planet. I mean, if we had to be very pedantic and nitpick details, maybe I am a hippie. Okay, a person, typically young, 1960s, yes, who believed in peace, was opposed to many of the accepted ideas we are supposed to live, had long hair, and often lived in groups and took drugs. Surely that child couldn't know this, right? So that child had to determine that I'm a hippie, according to him, based on visual identification alone. Visual identification alone. Surely. How though? It's not like hippies are that big of a thing in general, and definitely not here in South Africa. My mom has called me a hippie as well. She likes saying that I'm her little hippie when she talks about me as the odd one out with all of her children. This question of how to be authentically ourselves is kind of taking me on a ride right now. Mm-hmm. All right, let's read some comments again. Mm-hmm. I like being myself. Some people are repelled by me, but that's okay. I'm not for everyone. I like you too, Joy. Uh, I think there is a certain filtering, at least that happens for some people. It definitely does happen for me. Like I know some people don't like me. Some people, not that many. I hope at least. Maybe everybody doesn't like me, and I just know some of them are just too blatant. My authentic self inner dialogue. Please, bro. Please. That's so messed up. Bro. Anyway, from that perspective, it is still a matter of, I want to use the word poise, maybe even political correctness. Maybe it's not the right exact word, but like a social correctness. That because I am on the spectrum, I have literally sat down with the rules of engagement and been like, what don't do with people? Tell me, tell me so I see. And that has, in a way, helped me be a little bit more acceptable. My sharp edges have been at least like covered with something while I'm in a social setting, and that has helped. I still do think there is room for us to be in our own spaces, and if I don't necessarily enjoy my time with a person, it won't really happen again. So in that way, I'll allow myself to not say things for the sake of the peace of the moment, even if it might. Like I'm saying this knowing that I'm very much sometimes the opposite as well. So take this as perspective, not as truth or as advice. Both. I have to try and not be emotional if I'm feeling emotional. And I can't talk about religion or politics, which was tough because I work in legislature and we have both civic and provincial elections coming up in the next few weeks. Yeah, there's a concerted effort here and everywhere else I know of by the evangelical Christians to get elected to the public school board so they can do things like get rid of the gay straight alliances and sex education and so on. Yeah, because that's what we need more of. More people that are repressed. That's been working out. That's been working out great. People don't know how to talk about their sex life with having sex with even. Yeah, it's working out great. This is great. This is a fantastic system. Let's get more. Let's stunt more people. I don't want to go down this rabbit hole, but even like down to the circumcisions and stuff like that. Like there's so many yikes. Hey, Doc Dad says, I really love you guys, and this is an awesome conversation. But my wife went to the office today, and my daughter is actually back at school. I haven't played drums in 3 months. Yeah, get him, bro. Get him some boom booms. Love you, bro. Make them authentically sick beats, Quacker. Yeah, nice. Bless him. But my brother and his wife mentioned, says Loizana, that several friends from their church were running for school board, and they thought they would be really good. And they do go to one of those big evangelical mega churches. Yes. Let me give my monies to this person, that flies a private jet. Yeah, let me do that. Checks out. There are evil people, Lois, using the name of the Lord in vain to wage campaigns of hate upon His creation. Yeah, like if you wanna like Christianity in schools, make sure that every child is fed as well, right? Like you cannot in the right mind, right? Like you have to be big stupid to oppose feeding children and then at the same time like stand forcing religion down their throat. Like wasn't Jesus the one that was like just feeding people? Like he was just like like synthesizing bread and fish, bro, to feed thousands of people, right? Jesus himself. Why can't we feed the kids? We got the robots. We got the robots now that do a lot of the labors. Let's feed the children, please. It's literally proven that fed children perform better in school as well, right? We're literally making our entire society, our species, more intelligent by just feeding ourselves. Yes, breath. Breath is good. Breath is nice. Breath works. Breath is fine for now. Oh, no, 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 no. They'll all be surprised to learn, I'm sure, that using the Lord's name in vain does not refer to creatively log jamming it into a swear word. It is about saying God told you to hate gays when He didn't. Even if He did, even if God did tell you to hate the gays, how about you don't? Right? If anything tells you to hate anything else, that should instantly be room for critical thinking and questioning whether or not this system of power cares about you, right? Or cares about holding up a certain narrative. That's the big thing. Like we're literally having a global mass hallucination right now about what this world is, about what we are. Right. This whole authenticity question has a higher dimensional element to it as well. What does the authentic human species look like, right? What does the authentic humanity look like? And that's a hard question to really sit with because some of you might believe that authentic humanity would be something ugly, where I believe that authentic humanity is something beautiful. Had this like a few times now, the growth process, that as we are growing into what we truly authentically are, there is this period of morbid curiosity, right? Like children will literally kill things in curiosity, right? Like my sister squeezed one of my hamsters to death. I don't want to go into details about the heinous experimentation my poor child brain, did to try and understand this world that I'm in. And in that process, in that effort, you find what you authentically want to be as well. And I feel like we are not really equipped as a collective species to ask that question just yet. I think movies and TV shows and books and stories help us form that higher dimensional perspective. But it's like the internet is just showing us what we are right now. It's not giving us, maybe it is. Maybe it's the precursor to the tool that we need to really see ourselves. Maybe AI is that. in a way as well. Jovan, again, more things that she said yesterday, that AI is our collective humanity's baby, right? That's literally our little baby. And in the same way that you raise children and you feed them and you teach them, etc., etc., we're gonna have to feed and teach this little AI and this super intelligence that we are birthing as a species collectively. And that's going to be a big mirror that we get to look into to see ourselves. And in that way, I believe a new authentic self will arise. Or maybe not a new authentic self, maybe just an adjusted authentic self, an aware authentic self. Melt throws Sis under the hamster bus, but does not go into his Frankenstein child experiments. Why would you use Frankenstein specifically? Why would you say Frankenstein? Frankenstein was obsessed with electricity. Like, he channeled lightning through a body to try and reanimate it. I'm not throwing sister under the bus. It's one of those things where it's an endearing. It's endearing when I tell it about my sister. It's concerning when I tell you stories about myself. It's more like, I think you need to go to a mental asylum. And I don't want to give you any ammo like that right now. Oh, love is true. Love is true. Hippies are the worst. Most entitled humans. I truly dislike hippies. They're all over Berkeley and leak into all the surrounding Bay Area cities. Okay. Guess I'm actually not a hippie. I promise. We're all being so hard on ourselves sometimes, Show says. We got to remember to be our own friend. There's so much in the world that can hold us back. So it's essential to not let yourself be one of those things. That is beautifully said. Joy, what would you call Melt? I haven't had experiences with bad hippies. What would you call me? I hear Joy being like insane. I'm not insane. Hey Google, define what it means to be insane. Not of sound mind. Mentally deranged. Symptoms is to be irrational. To be foolish. To be maniacal. To be crazy. Crazed. A lunatic. Demented. Of relating to or a characteristic of a person who is mentally deranged. A wild or insane look on his face. Who knows even, right? In an insane world, the sane are the insane. Is that the way the quote goes? Yeah. Pets self on shoulder. And interested in saving the planet. I was too indoctrinated by Captain Planet. Where do I get my hippie identifier button? Captain Planet. He's our hero. Gonna take pollution down to zero. The child identified you as a part of the counterculture. He was correct in that. It's true. But how? But how did he do that? That's the thing that confuses me a little bit, Joyview. It's that I'm kind of confused by it. Like, what mental infrastructure, what perspective has that child been given to identify that? To take a look at me and be like, Mommy, look, that's a hippie. How's that real? No, I'm not mad about it. I hope that's clear. Sam, you don't need a button when you have all of those fancy silk skirts and hair down past your butt. Well, I used to read those giant Miss Manners books from cover to cover. Turns out the rest of the world really doesn't hold with Miss Manners. Part of me wants to pretend like I totally mismannered, just so that we can have like this moment of like, we know. So let's just pretend I do. Language is interesting. Enjoy the entitled hippies thing. I used to be a skater with a bunch of wholesome friends that would like to pick up trash when we found it. But there's a lot of skater kids that vandalize too. So people are people. I think there's good and bad behavior within every category we put people in. True. Or uncouth heathens. This is true. Yeah, the perspective. The perspective. Many people are being some version of their authentic self, and some people's authentic selves suck. Maybe that could be one way to see it. Maybe they're still in the process of discovering who their authentic self actually is, and that who they are right now in having not discovered it. It kind of sucks. Yeah, sounds better that way. It's a little bit more verbose. I have to say more words. My mom made me take an etiquette course when I was 10, Lois. I have good posture, but I left pretty much everything else. Fuck manners. Interesting. There was one girl in my school who also went to an etiquette class, and she got made fun of it for it. She suddenly started chewing her food more and sitting in certain ways. And now, in hindsight, I'm kind of jealous. Kind of wish I went to etiquette class too. Maybe I would be even more fantabulastical. You know? Sad news, of course. Mm-mm-mm. Treat people. Miss Manners isn't about salad forks and posture. She's all about how we treat people. There we go. Y'all had to take a meeting real quick, and I hadn't changed out of yoga clothes. Really got my ish together today. Maybe they get to see you're like a yoga practitioner, and all of them suddenly feel very inspired to take their practice up a little bit more seriously as well. Yes, 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 yes. Those aren't your daily wear clothes, Kristen. What do you wear that's different for work, and how do you feel about making that distinction? Hippies can become smug with themselves, and it is at that point where they take pleasure in their own hippiness instead of just living the lives that became poisonous, like social media influencers. I think it's a matter of perspective. Again, it's all a matter of perspective. Where did you come from, right? Where did you come from? And in that, how do you appreciate where you're going? I feel like there's a lot of interesting opportunities that arises with the internet. And those who are in a position of already high opportunity usually are more equipped to make it on that internet as well as an influencer in those words. All right, so it's like one poisons the other, but I don't know which. Like for instance, PewDiePie. PewDiePie is an influencer technically, 111 million subscribers. He has been a person to me, an authentic person to me, looking as a what I believe to be authentic person onto the internet for the whole time I've known of him, right? So I think it is a matter. It's a matter of who you are as well, going into the whole social influence thing. Same thing with politics. Like you can say all politicians are assholes, but it's like which one came first kind of question. Sam, they are my normal clothes, except I was wearing a t-shirt this morning because I got dressed in the dark and couldn't find my real stuff. Tie-dye shirt was in fact on camera. I felt like any group can turn smug and annoying. What do you think? I got some Durban poison. It's my new favorite strain. Nice. It is Sativa Landrace. So like OG sativas. I'm happy that you're enjoying it. It's one of the land races that have been cultivated here in South Africa for hundreds of years. Company. HQs in Bozeman? I heard about it from Melt. I was so excited to find it. Durban Poison. Yeah, I'm happy that you got yourself some. And for it to be your new personal favorite, that's a big one. Does it have that licorice kind of terpene profile for you? What makes you like it so much, Joy? I'm curious. Do you have it? Do you have to go there very often to headquarters? Once a year at least. That's not much. Oh yeah, there's potential for anyone to do that for sure, Kristen. See Corpo Alpha boys, lawyers who only represent guilty people and possessed software developers. We should throw Blizzard under the bus as well while we're at it. So kick him. Do you know when the next time is? Melt with that scarf around your head and the wind blowing it seductively. You are practically in drag. I just need to like throw like hand signs and stuff, you know. Am I doing something wrong? I feel like I'm doing something wrong when I do stuff like that, where there might be some angry gay person watching on, being like, "How fucking dare you? How dare you culturally appropriate?" And I don't mean to do that. I'm just trying to be authentically my silly self right now in this moment. I'm sure that that will be taken into due consideration. Surely. Like social media, Melt is visibly anxious. I don't know what you're talking about. This is fine. this is completely fine. I don't taste licorice, but I'll pay close attention next time. I love the taste and the bright, clean high it gives. Yeah, that's sativa. Yeah, it's kind of nice. This was nice. I think I remember Duck having a hectic story about Durban poison. Yeah, wasn't it Duck Dad who said Durban poison is the first strain who ever gave him a panic attack? Something like that. Because if you smoke like a whole joint of something that gives you a very clear high, right? It's like that mental, that having your eyes as an experience instead of just like a ooh, like and then suddenly you do too much of the and then it goes I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry that you had to hear that, but it can happen. It definitely can. Which tempted me to get some for myself. Unfortunately, I think my tolerance is too high to have those kind of weed experiences. I think it is about dosage. The fact that we do Dynavaps means that our dose will always be on the smaller side, and we don't have to go to the extremes of smoking a whole joint or, doing like a whole gram in a bong hit. Durban poison. Being a sativa class strain doesn't provide enough of a mental impairment for dude, where's my car shit to happen. Yeah, I think dude, where's my car shit is more an indica, you know. Like that would be like a cheese, some sort of like extreme cheese, like forget your name cheese. And that's the strain name. Oh, okay. Alrighty. I'm gonna pull my cards out. We're gonna see. We're gonna see. This is a third perspective. How have you been liking it? There's not many more here for me. Technically. It's a Wi-Fi range thing. Getting to watch my authentic self try and close tabs in my brain. Ah, still here. Hey, Nancy. It's nice having you here, friend. That bracelet is so awesome, Mel. You think so? It says love is true. Has little marijuana leaves that holds the letters in. And then it has like little birdie faces that's working as spacers. Or it can also be seen as little vampire teetsies. And then there are beads. See, there's 4 there, 4 of each color. And then there is 3 of the one color and 4 of the other, which is 34 and 44 as number sequences. Those numbers are significant to me. I looked at the cards. Now I have to reshuffle them. I felt like I was cheating for a second there. Thank you for noticing. Jovan made it. We went to Bloom, the festival, and at that festival there was like a little tray filled with beads and string. And Jovan made this thing. And now it is on me. Isn't that nice? Got some more pieces too. Still here. Indica gets me though. I've getting this loop of we're gonna make food. First, let's start a show. But before that, I'm thirsty. But I'm gonna. I feel you on that show. For me, it's usually like I wanna cook food, and then I go to my room to go and get my speaker. And then I get in my room and I'm like, I was gonna do something here to cook food. And then I get back in the kitchen, and then I'll feel this sense of uneasiness of like, why am I back in the kitchen not feeling like I've completed something? And then I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna play music. And then I go and get my speaker again. And then I get my speaker this time. And then I put my speaker somewhere where it's supposed to be. And then I get, distracted with cooking for a second. I'll cut onions for 5 seconds. And I'm like, wasn't I supposed to play music or something? And then I'm like, oh yeah. And then I scroll on my phone to get music played. And then I have to pick the right song sometimes. And then eventually the food gets cooked. Joe, let's do all the things all at the same time. First, I have to get off the couch. I think that's the problem. You have very nice hands, Melt. You like my hands? Weird tangent to go down. I like my hands too. Not like that, bro. What the fuck? Why are you like this? Sometimes I wonder. I'm very aware of the fact that there are multiple layers of self. Why do we do things, right? Was that the authentic version of me, or was that the version of me that wants to have fun? Right? Are they distinguishable? Because the version of me that's authentic in anger is just as authentic as the version of me that's authentic in happiness too. Right? Right? So maybe, again, non-judgment. Non-judgment. So, Joe, do tell us, what does Melt smell like? Oh, goodness. It's 55:44 right now. 55 minutes past. Now 44% of my battery is nice. Synchronicity. I smell nice, okay? All right? Sometimes spicy, sometimes sweet, but my memory of smell is usually one of the first things to go. Yeah. The first day that Joe saw me, I was wearing something pretty spicy because everything else got stolen. And I don't necessarily like the spicy scents that much for myself. I don't actually like wearing them. So I got all of my perfumes in my little vanity bag, in my bag. And then, and then I had to wear the spicy one. And I didn't really have any other perfumes. Usually I have. I did buy myself a new perfume. And Jovan did get to smell me wearing my perfume, the one that's mine, the one that's special to me, once. Like I used the last of it when she was here. I think I smell good. But I have a mom that has been very pedantic about that my whole life as well. Not only pedantic, but almost like aggressive. Like she'll tell you that you stink and that you need to stop stinking. She'll give you something to stop stinking. Oh goodness. Every time I get blisteringly high and think about food, the scene from Grandma's Boys comes to me, and I think to myself, well, I need my hands later. There's a comedian that does a great bit about his wife and ADHD trying to do chores. Thank you for all of the blessings. Yeah, and it has me crying, laughing. I'll post it in general. Do. Sometimes spicy, sometimes sweet. I like my inner arms. It's good to have things you like about yourself. Yeah, it's true. Granted, he had his toiletries stolen, so I don't know if that's typical. Yeah, not usually. Not usually. I love that there is time for you to find out. That there's time for you to find out. Hmm. I think my mom is the reason I'm obsessed with all the smell good stuff too, Mel. I feel you. And I do appreciate so much. Like your little vial, the one that has the little cappy on it, your two mini spray bottles, those I have almost as like backups. I put them in my little leather pouch. And then your little mini bottle with a little cap on it, it stands on my windowsill. And I look at it very frequently. And I look forward to being able to wear it and someone telling me I smell nice or something and being like, yeah, this is actually Joy Viv's scent. She sent this to me. I'm just gonna tell them that story a little bit as well. That's why I'm good at telling stories, Joy. I think at least. Or at least in the way that I tell stories. Is because I try and relate it to something, to a feeling, to a person, to whatever just into my brain in that moment. I'm like, hey, this thing just happened to my brain. You want this? And I give it. I'm like, you want? You want some of this? Thank you for giving my brain things that it wants. Shadow is that Ruby Lynn. She's hilarious. I actually used that to help my hubby understand. I don't mean to cause chaos, but that's just how it happens. Feeling seen by the comedians, right? This card. This card right here. Anna, grandmother of Jesus, seeding the light, laying the foundations of the divine plan. Use it before time steals it. No, no, time won't steal it. This time around, I'm keeping all of my stuff. Yes. No more of my things will be stolen. I'm sure. I'm totally sure. I'm suring. My sister has really bad, unmedicated ADHD, and the one thing she complains about is her inability to do a thing without 50 other things too. Yeah. Being ADHD myself, I use that as like a hack. It's like a kind of trick that I play on myself. So I know that there are these difficult things to do, things that are harder than other things. So I gate myself, trick myself, if you will, into doing all of the other things. Okay, I have to sit down and edit video. This is what you have to do, Mel. And then I, do this little thing. I do this little thing and I exercise and then eventually I get to actually edit a video. And then by that time I've done so many other things. I got so much done that I can just kind of continue forward with the next thing. Oh, a goodbye message has been sent. This is the first card you pulled from this deck when you got it. This was, yeah, because this is the first card I pulled from the deck, and it was for Anna. It was literally for Anna. Not physically stolen melt, it will literally evaporate. I don't know how I feel about that, Joy. My mind wants to be like, oh, no, it won't evaporate. But then my mind is like, bro, if you can smell it, it's literally evaporating. That's how it works. Oh, that's how it works. You're right. I should use it. You're 100% right. Hand in hand with that strategy of never finishing anything. Love is true. I like that with my writing jaw. Can't finish it. Not physically stolen. I started journaling again with a pen too, and so that's there is no going back. But I tell myself I'll refine it one day. We'll see. Maybe for right now, it is just a way of crystallizing, physicalizing those notes onto a piece of paper. And then when our tech catches up with us, we can feed all of that stuff back into it and it can help us. Ah, yes, the laws of physics stole from me. These fucking laws of physics is. How dare they? How dare they? I'll turn them off. Turns off laws of physics. Everything ceases to exist. Do, do you do you get particular about the type of journal and pen you use, Joe? I know the journal she's writing in right now. It's a gift. It was a gift. I don't know the pen though. That might be something she can give you context on. Ha 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 ha. I shouldn't put my book away. It's true. One more time. Let me showing you. Alrighty. Let me read. Let me read what it says for you. I'll let you know. I'll let you know, right? I'll read it, I will. I don't know why I'm doing this, I'm sorry. It's not very authentically myself. Any second now. Yeah, any second. Yeah, I got it. Anna, grandmother of Jesus, was an ancient mystic who dedicated her life to laying the foundations for Christ consciousness to be woven through all of life. She is not widely known, but without her, Christ consciousness would not be rising as it is today. Anna represents the quiet dedication that is sometimes required to live a life of service. She represents the generations that came before, that devoted their lives to dreaming a new world into being, while knowing that they would not see the glorious end results themselves. She represents the dutiful soldier, the unconditional loving mother, and the mystic who can see the thread that is woven through all of life. Anna teaches us that we all have a part to play in the divine plan. It doesn't have to be on the world stage to be significant. One person's part is not worthier than another's. One person's part may be to mother their children. Another may be to gather women in a circle each month. No part is better or worse, more important or less significant. We each have within us a seed of light. We did talk about the light thing. We each have within us a seed of light that we incarnated to share. Anna is gathering us all to remember and surrender to our part of the plan. Hold this card in your heart and say, Beloved Anna, thank you for laying the foundations for the divine plan. May the seeds of light within me be revealed, and may I surrender to my part of this divine plan. Yow! A maternal or paternal grandmother. I hope it's a maternal grandmother. To me, that's feels more special, feels more mitochondrially linked. Right, that's the way I think of it, at least. Not the journals, since they tend to find their way to me, but the pens for sure. I like the fountain pens. Information revealed. Noted. Louisiana, and I do too. I bought my first fountain pen a few months ago after exclusively using Zebra Metal Barrel F301S. Of course. And the quality is phenomenal. The Bible doesn't tend to traffic in that sort of detail and distinction, and true. Kind of sucks, right? But surely Jesus had to have a grandmother too. Maternal Nan, it does specify. Anna would have been John's grandmother too, Mary and Elizabeth's mother. There we go. It was thought that Jesus inherited his royal blood through Mary. Inherited his royal blood. I stand corrected. That would fit with Jewish tradition. Matrilineal. I'm not a kenner. That's the way we say it. I'm not a knower of these subject matters. What I do know is that love is true, and that I love you, and that you love me enough to be here at the very least. And I thank you. Thank you for joining me for this another attempt in authenticity. I appreciate you friends so much for joining me. Fountain Pen Gang for the win. I love this. They really do make writing easier to hyper focus on. Getting to sync up with Louisiana and Sam. I love that, Joe. Love is true. I can now read the message that Kristen has sent us and say, have the most enchanting day, everyone. I wholeheartedly love you all so profoundly and astonishingly, breathtakingly and heartwarmingly, soulfully and dazzlingly, boundlessly, resplendently, intensely and gloriously melt. It's me and all of you. Oh, so nurturing and uplifting and radiant, wondrous, benevolent, heartfelt and soulful, magnanimous, extraordinary, gorgeous, generous friends who embrace their authenticity once again. Authentically themselves. Day after day. I thank you, friends, for joining me. It's always a pleasure sharing these moments. I'll see you, friends, again soon. Tomorrow. Goodbye, everybody. Cheers for now.